Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. We're just going to give it 1 or 2 more minutes. Let some more people join us. And there should be a slightly shorter session today than some of the previous ones that have taken place so far. Thankfully, it's because it should be a little bit more straightforward a topic. But thank you to everyone for joining the previous session so far. Thank you to those watching on YouTube. Don't forget, if you miss any of this, we will be, the on-demand version will be on YouTube pretty much straight away. And all of that can be viewed either through the YMEC YouTube channel or also the actual event page for the YP Congress. If you click on the watch videos, you'll be able to see all of the previous and upcoming events. Thank you for sharing that link. Perfect. As I say, so first of all, I would like to talk a little bit about the YP Congress for those who haven't participated in some of the other events so far. Yes, we could share the YouTube handle. Are you able to find that? Thank you. So yes, it's Congress. It's a collaborative event with the Young Member Engagement Committee, the Business Management and Leadership Committee, as well as the SP Beyond Borders group, which is European regional group that allows chapters across or sections even across the region to come and collaborate together. And we're also kind of working closely with the Gaia Sustainability Program and the D&I Standing Committee as well for some of these sessions. So this is really a unique SP International event where we're working really closely with all of these different standing committees. If you joined us for the kickoff session, you'll see that there is a sustainability ideathon. I've been hearing some great stuff about some of the projects that the teams are working on already. So I do hope you can join us for the final closing sessions on Saturday, where they will be exploring all of the different innovations, the sustainability innovations that people have been coming up with across the week. As I say, I've had a little bit of information on the progress so far, and it looks really exciting. So thank you so much for that. We have, as part of this, like between the sustainability panel sessions and the kickoff meeting, we have our bootcamp that thank you so much for joining this. Our aim of these sessions is to be a bit more conversational. So if there are any kind of parts of this where you think you would like to ask questions or anything, we've deliberately made the setting so you can interrupt, you can speak, you can share your cameras if you wish. We won't kind of require you to ask permission for muting and things like that. This is very much kind of boot camp, exactly as it's called. So our aim is to teach you a bit, have a bit of discussions, and then maybe get some of your feedback towards the end as well. As I say, if you miss any of them, please do visit the YouTube channel as well. So unlike some of the other sessions that are a bit more conversational, I guess, this is a bit more practical, this session. So we won't be kind of going on into long debates and me waffling on as much as I usually do, though I'm doing quite a good job of that already. The session for today will be exploring utilizing membership data, which is quite a useful thing. If you joined the previous session with the section officers, you would have seen some really good utilization of that information and how that influenced the activities within the sections. So that's kind of the area I'll be focusing on. I'm going to show you the actual kind of platform that we use, but this is much more about why we want to use that information, why should we use this rather than other sources of information, and in what ways we can use that information to influence the programs that we run as SP, either chapter officers, section officers, and things like that. But generally, it's good practice. So hopefully this information will be useful to you. So what I'm going to do, I don't usually do this too much. Oh, one thing I did forget to say, I do want to say a really, really big thank you to Shell. They are our sponsors for the YP Congress. It's our first year, so it's really, really exciting to have them on board. They're both supporting us as a sponsor, but they're also providing some speakers and some panelists for the session. So I had a really, really good discussion with them a couple of weeks ago, and they're really invested in young professionals in their development. So it's really great to have them on board. So thank you again to Shell for supporting us. So as I say, session today is mostly kind of for section officers and chapter officers. So if that doesn't apply to you, there may be some things that you can't get access to, but the kind of application side of things may be of slight interest to you. So I'll try and run through that as well. Some of the other sessions that we've run in the week, this will tie into as well. In particular, yesterday we talked about conversion rates. That will be quite influenced by some of the stuff that we'll be looking at today. That will have quite a big impact. But just generally some of the other things as well, the demographics and the way that sections are changing over the years is quite an interesting thing. So as I say, I'll try and keep this session short, and if there are any questions, please do let me know. So let's have a look. I will share my screen with you now. I won't share lots and lots on this. I have to pre-warn you, because this is something that we will be talking about shortly. And that is, we're dealing with members' data here. So we want to be as careful as possible. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. You're able to see my screen. Just allow it.
I can see your screen, James.
Yeah, sure thing. Excellent. I will close these up sessions. Here we go. So I'm just on the SP website at the moment. Many of the sessions that we'll be talking about, and I include like sessions like yesterday and upcoming, a lot of that information can be found in the Section Officers Resource Center. So if you are a section officer, please do go to this, because there's so much useful information in there. Just admit these people. Fantastic. And what we'll be talking about is membership data, and where you can find that information is under the membership dashboards and reporting, which is referred to as a membership builder. If you haven't explored this thoroughly, there's so much information there. They've made this platform really user-friendly and accessible. So please do have a look at that. So this is behind a secure system. This is one of the benefits, again, I'll be talking about shortly. So this is probably one of the major hurdles that people deal with, and I will go into why this is a good thing. But we just log in here using our SP logins. And for the purposes of this training, I've just logged into the Aberdeen section under my account. So this is the information that you can see here. Sorry, let me just see if I can bring this up a little bit easier. Can you still see my screen okay?
Yes, we can see your screen, James.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So again, I'm not going to show you ins and outs of the specific report. So for example, if I click on the Aberdeen section bit here, I don't want to bring up a list of people's names, email addresses, or their addresses and things like that. Obviously, we're broadcasting to YouTube and things like that. So I'm trying to be mindful of that. So I will kind of show you these different options that you do have available. So if you do have access to this, please do have a look at that information. But as you can see, we try and encourage the use of this alongside the SP's broadcast email system, and there'll be some on-demand training for that shortly as well. And this means that members can update their information into our membership records, and every day this will be updated to reflect all of these changes, which means unlike keeping an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, this information will remain the same. If people change from years to years, then some people come and go. Also, a really important thing, some people want to opt out of emails from SB. As you can imagine, there's a huge number of emails that do go out to SB. So some people, rightly there's complete justifications for doing so, they decide to opt out. If you keep emailing people through other means, through your own personal accounts and things like that, you run a severe risk of aggravating members, and that's not really good for anybody. So by using these systems, we hope we can provide some good templates that you can use, and some structure, some formalized structures, so that our members know that this information is coming from a reliable source and it reflects what's going on in the region. So this is a section report, which as a result means that you get to see similar reports for the various chapters that are under that section. So that's quite a nice, easy way to see where you where your operations are. But what I will focus on is some of this information below. So hopefully you can see all this. So again, I hope Aberdeen section don't mind me using this data. So you'll be able to click on the reports and look at the different section reports. You'll be able to see all those different things, as I mentioned. But what we get here is we get a list of the current members, affiliate members, retention rates, new member retention and growth. A lot of people kind of stop at this kind of information, but really it doesn't tell you a huge amount because that information isn't really in context. So why I want to kind of host this session is because I want you to delve a bit deeper in order to use this information. So the first thing that you'll see there is your professional membership, which is broken down into renewed members, lapsed members, and new members. And why this is important is how you kind of apply this data. If you can see that you have a very large number of lapsed members, then this is something that you can amend your programming to reflect those people or target those people specifically. And as you remember from the session yesterday, there are some really good reasons to kind of want to have more members within your society. I know it doesn't always feel like it should be the role of members to kind of recruit more people and things like that. I know for many that's a part of the role that is maybe less comfortable. People are less easy with doing that. Feel that if they're members that they should want to be members and they should do that on their own volition, which is absolutely true. But do you want to keep an eye on these things, because people make those decisions based on the information that's provided for them. So if you're not providing them the information on the programs that are available to them, then they're making those decisions based on not a lot of information, not a lot of engagement. Again, as we talked about in the session yesterday, it's really about engaging with your members and personalizing that engagement, because it shows that you care about what your members think and what your members want, and that's really important. So utilizing this information gives you a lot more insight into all of this kind of stuff. So what provides some context for this is how these things change over years. And we all know the kind of the things that the industry is going through at the moment and things like that. So you shouldn't be particularly worried about big declines or small declines or anything like that. You want to kind of make informed decisions. So Because historically what happens, particularly with larger sections or just maybe well-established sections, is that you would tend to have programs that were established a long time ago, and they were very popular back in the day, and people are just kind of used to them running every year. It's kind of a common date in the calendar. But the industry changes and the members change and the demographics of our members change. And if you keep relying on pre-existing programs, you don't kind of regularly review this information, you may kind of start losing touch with your members, and you may kind of like fall into that because as you join a section, you're kind of taught this is the way things should be. But you should always kind of keep this stuff in mind to review that. So as you can see, we've got the total members by year. It shows students and professionals. This is also an interesting thing. This is like something I look at a lot, particularly with students. A lot of people focus on the professional side of things. For me, I really focus on the students. And the reason for that is because professional members used to be students. So if you have a big drop in students, or if you don't pay enough attention and support for student members, then those people don't tend to become professionals. So if you have a sudden drop in student members, that will have a big knock-on effect. Maybe not immediately, but 2 or 3 years down the line, as more people start to retire and fall off from the older age demographics, the membership of students, keep those people. And again, we talked a bit about this yesterday. It's so much harder to kind of bring people in to the society than to kind of maintain existing members. From yesterday, it's 3 times as much effort to try and kind of bring people back into the society as it is to maintain it. And the whole purpose of SP is to support each other, to build our community, to disseminate knowledge. But those aren't the only things that SP does, and that isn't the only reasons why people become members. So try and keep an eye on these things. You can further assist with that by looking into additional demographics, like things like technical discipline. So for example, if you're running sessions that are purely on certain areas, not covering others, then you can, if you don't cover completions at all, for example, you can lose a whole swathe of people. And running events is challenging. We're all able to do more now that we're doing things online. We don't have to worry about venues and a lot of the other charges and things like that. But what you end up seeing is many repeated events, any kind of similar topics being covered. For example, everybody is talking about sustainability at the moment, and rightly so. It's a very, very, very important topic. But when you consider some of the reasons why people join SPE is to kind of boost their current career development, their kind of technical expertise. If you're running events on small demographic, then the chances are that you may be not serving others in your area. So that's not to say you should be running more of one event or another, but you want to do that with an informed choice. You want to kind of know the people that you're working to. There's information here such as new students and new professionals. This is very important because it shows when you have interest in that. So obviously around the new term, as people kind of start their university degrees, there's going to be a big uptake. So you can do things like adapt your marketing campaigns, your email strategies based around these things. So we know that there's no use sending a student email in July. No one's going to pay attention to it. But other areas, February, October, November, you can adapt your approach like this. And all of this takes planning, because if you try and do these things last minute, it will be difficult. So that's, again, where this data is useful. I know I'm I'm talking to engineers here, so I don't think I need to kind of delve too much into that aspect. Everyone knows the value of accurate data and making informed decisions, because it's quite a natural thing when running events to think about your own personal experiences, what events you would like to see being run. And that's a really good way, particularly when you're starting off, because it means that you're passionate about the project. It means that you will put a lot of effort in there, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the wider membership. And again, that's why this information is made available to you and why it should be utilized. And often it's not, I mean, does anybody here think about membership demographics before they start hosting events? Maybe not. But if you keep this in the back of your mind, it will help with that information. So emailing campaigns, things like that, that can be heavily influenced by new members and retention and growth. Your events, topics and things like that. And this also helps with speakers as well. If you know you have a large number of reservoir engineers within your region, you're going to host a very successful event based on that topic. Again, student membership is always a tricky one because obviously students change so frequently, often 2-3 year cycles. So it can be tricky. Again, it's often more useful to look at the long-term data than just reviewing either the information at the top or the individual bits. But again, you can see from here, people can renew throughout the year, but this is where the big push happens from SB International towards the end of the year. But you can see how that adds up. And when you do your own marketing, sometimes you don't know whether that's been successful or not. Obviously, with an event, it can be fairly straightforward. You see the event registration numbers go up after you send out an emailing campaign. But if your email isn't about a specific event, then it can be hard to track that information. So again, this is all here. If you know you've sent some big campaigns out on a particular month, this is the right place to go to. So again, you can track changes. And again, it helps you understand if there are any sudden dips or peaks, if that's a normal thing to expect for that time of year or not. So another area that comes up that's actually very useful for event planning is to know the demographics of your members by both the companies and the kind of job roles that they look after. And again, this ties into what we were talking a bit about earlier with their disciplines. But for example, if you know you have a large number of academics in your region, then and you're running events just for them, then people in other areas like service and manufacturing, they're not going to be served by those same kind of events. So again, it's about making sure you're supporting everyone in your group, not just picking on popular topics or topics that you think maybe hot topics and things like that, because it is really good to kind of do those and do topical things. But if you continually ignore large sections of your demographics, you will see a decline. So a more specific thing when it comes to that will be to look at the actual companies that people are working for. So for example, we have a large number of undisclosed, that's fairly normal. But if you have companies that have a significant number of people with your members, I mean, partly there are sponsorship opportunities there if they know their companies are already heavily invested in SPE in that way, but also through speaking opportunities and more interesting events, perhaps more kind of novel, interesting events like site visits and things like that. Internship programs, there's been a lot of success in particularly regions like the Middle East. And they're able to do that because they know they have strong connections with certain companies, stronger than most. So they would know, in this case, approaching Halliburton for that kind of activity is less likely to be successful than if they went for mega use. And again, having this kind of informed decision saves you a lot of time. It really helps you focus and make your section more strategic. Yes. So again, we've got job classification here. It follows a similar group. So further down, some of this information is slightly harder to adapt for specific events. But again, it's about knowing your members and tailoring the information that you send out. Again, during this week, there are sessions on emailing campaigns, and we're talking about personalizing information. There are different groups with the email campaign builder where you can select specific groups within these people. So if you have that information, if you're not informed about this, then you don't know how successful that's going to be. And we all receive a lot of emails. I'm only sharing the screen, but if I shared my screen with my inbox on, you would see a lot of emails in there. And that's important. You want to keep that in mind. If you are just bombarding members with messaging, that overall retention is going to suffer. So what I'm trying to say, essentially, I don't have much more to kind of recap with what data that you'll be able to see. There are other things that aren't shown on here that you will be able to see through the section reports. Again, some of those areas are very important. It does include things like award winners, which is information that SP keeps alongside your individual records, but also people who've published papers as well. That information is kept on there. So again, I won't click on these links just to save showing some personal information, but that is really useful resource. And it's also really useful for bringing in and looking for new members to your committee. If you can see that there are people that regularly win awards or submit papers, perhaps that's happened internationally and you weren't aware of that activity from a section point of view, then you can find out about those people, because quite often within sections, and SP International is certainly guilty of this as well, but we rely on personal contacts and word of mouth and things like that to find people, but you may be missing out on some really important people. So it's a really great way of just accessing all of this information. Now, this is all the kind of the information why you should be using it. I do just want to spend a quick moment on the security aspect. It is so convenient to just have an Excel spreadsheet on your computer, on your desktop, maybe, with all of this information. For all of you professional members out there, I'm sure you're very aware of this. But the industry as a whole, SP certainly is, we're often kind of targeted for online attacks and things like that. It's unfortunate, but having some good security measures in place is very important, and we really do take our memberships data very, very seriously. So I know it can be very easy to just collect emails from various places, online registration forms and things like that. As an international body, we do adhere to GDPR regulations, which if you're not familiar, GDPR regulations are relatively new, it's just a couple of years old, law set by the European Union in which personal data is, digital data is protected. And it also gives the rights for any European citizen, EU citizen, to request that information and to request that information be removed or deleted at any point. SP as a global organization, there are other countries like Canada as well that also have quite strict data laws. And we, as an organization, we want to kind of adhere to the strictest laws. Again, it's best practice for keeping that information safe. We've had some situations recently, actually, where members' data was being used. It wasn't taken maliciously. It was all information that was kind of readily available. But some people are kind of willing to misuse this information. We really do want to kind of look after everybody involved. So, what I would say is, I know that logging into these systems, remembering passwords, maybe keeping your Sonify information or your SP record information up to date, that can sound like a laborious task. But by doing things through these systems, it means that we can ensure people's safety. It means that we can keep that information up to date, respect the wishes of our members who don't want to be contacted, or maybe they've changed their information, and they can keep us up to date with that. But if you don't use those systems, it does open things up to a lot of difficulties. So I do hope this session has proved useful. I don't have a lot more to talk to you about on this issue, but it is really important, which is why we wanted to include this in our bootcamp series. Again, it's one of those sources that people forget about, but making informed decisions means that you're much more likely to make the right decisions when it comes to your strategy and the way that you engage with your members. And again, that can boost retention, which has an overall benefit for your region, but also SPAI as a whole as well. So that's it from me. I will open up, see if there are any other questions. I can see Ian has very kindly added some links in the resources there. I will stop sharing my screen for now. I have a few more that I will send over to you. If you bear with me 1 second. So again, a lot of this information is on the Resource Center. But on SP Connect, we have information on best practices. We have a PDF document that will explain all of this as well. We have a nice and short video guide that touches on some of the things I've talked to you about today as well. So again, it's not my usual philosophical background debate topic. There will be some more sessions like that later on this week. Tomorrow we have a really interesting one where we'll be talking about the updates with regards to the merger. Again, the updates that we have are from SPE, but we really want to hear your so this is really your opportunity to kind of tell us what you think. Let us know what you want to see from the merger, what you don't want to see from the merger, and things like that. Hearing from you is like the key part of this bootcamp. So I'm aware this session is slightly different. I have been talking a lot, but I do hope that this is information that you can take away and use, and it will be useful for you. So we have lots of other sessions. We have some more updates from section officers who will be showcasing their activities. That will take place tomorrow and on Thursday, and then we will have a summary sessions where we will look at section best practices on Friday as well. And then, as I say, we have a few more YMEC panel discussions over the next few days, including talking about the merger, talking about the future of jobs within the industry and taking a cold hard look at that. And then on Friday, we're very excited to have 3 CEOs who will be joining us to talk about their advice and tips for YP. So I do hope you can join us for those sessions. Again, if you do miss anything, that will be all available for you on the YouTube channel that has been shared. But please do reach out to us if you have any questions. There's the YP Congress email address, which is just ypcongress@sp.org. Or you can reach us at yp@sp.org as well, and then we'll reach us either here or myself. Thank you very much for sharing you. Perfect. So again, I will leave it a few more moments. If there are any other questions, please do let me know. But as I say, that data is available to you. Do use it, do check it occasionally. Just make sure you have all the information that you need when you make all these big decisions, because it has a real impact. So I'm not seeing any more questions in today. So thank you very much. I hope these links are useful to you. Again, please do reach out if you need anything. But otherwise, I will see you at the next one. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, James. Very informative session.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. It was very interesting and informative. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you so